Hello, world, and welcome to episode 1 of the King Jeff podcast, where we're going to show you and your family how to receive your royal crown. But before we go into it, I have a few things that I need to ask you to do. First, subscribe to the channel. Secondly, please like and share the video. Third, click on the notification bell so that you can receive our latest content. And lastly, purchase a copy of The Matrix Project from the Amazon bookstore. Okay, well, let's go into it. Let's establish the purpose for this podcast. The purpose for this podcast is to allow regular people just like you and I to come together to set the tone for what's culturally acceptable in our communities. Also, we're here to establish royal movements that sets the tone for what's culturally acceptable in communities all across America. Also, we're here to put a copy of the Matrix Project in everyone's hand because we are providing a written document that everyone can have tangibly in their hand to understand what our cultural codes are. Now, let's establish our common language. There are some key terms that we need to know because we're going to discuss those things throughout this podcast. First term is culture. The second one is royal culture and the 3 parts of culture. Okay? Culture. What is culture? Culture is all of the ways that people in societies live. And these things are passed on from generation to generation. All the ways that people live in societies and these practices are passed on from generation to generation. Now, what is a royal culture? Royalty is the top of the class. Every community has a top class, upper class. So we're establishing a royal culture. Remember, the culture is all the things that people do in societies that's passed on from generation to generation. So a royal culture is the top of the class, the top of society, like kings, queens, and those in their family. So the royal culture is the top of the society. So that's what we're establishing. The 3 parts of culture, we need to know that as well so that we understand how to implement these things. The 3 parts of culture is, the first one is your visual artifacts, your art. How does your community look? The things on the wall, what are the tangible things that you've cultivated? The next is your beliefs. This is not something that's written down. Your beliefs is what's in your mind. They're perceived things, unwritten rules that are followed and passed on from generation to generation. The last thing is written documents. The written document that we're providing is the Matrix Project. Many communities fail because they fail to plan. If culture consists of 3 things, your visual artifacts, your unwritten beliefs, and your written documents, communities that do not have a written plan to follow, that's why they fail. Laws alone simply are not the things that drive society. Now, so that it's understood, while this podcast is called the King Jeff Podcast, and you may hear me regularly talk about it kingship and from that perspective, but understand that this platform considers the entire family, every single person, from your kings, your queens, your prince, and your princesses. That's a word, right? Okay. So every man, woman, and child is included in this platform and included in this plan. So no matter who you are or what you do, we're considering you in our language and in our mindset. So this is for you. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how to become the king, queen, prince, or princess in your life. Remember, we're establishing royal movements, a royal culture. So royal is the top of the society. So no matter what it is that you do or think or go, we expect you to be the top of the top of the class. Understand that competition is very steep. Competition is everywhere you go, except your home. And sometimes it's there as well. But it shouldn't be negative. Competition is healthy, it's to be understood. So there's nothing wrong with positioning yourself at the top. And that's what this whole platform is for. Okay. Next. Now, we don't want you to get it twisted now, because this platform is so important in establishing culture. It's necessary that we take the responsibility on very seriously. Like, it's a very weighty matter. Like when something is created, if you want it to be correct or good, you have to pay close attention to the steps in which you create it. So this is a very serious thing. So as I said, most people don't like accountability. So when you start talking like a drill sergeant sometimes, or a taskmaster, or personal trainer, pushing them to higher heights, they sometimes rebel. And this is not the time to do that, because I come in love. I have nothing but good intentions for everybody who hears. Excuse me. Now, as I was saying, don't get it twisted. This is not the feel good platform. We're not here to coddle you or tell you, yo, it's going to be okay. Well, it is going to be okay. But in that making it, in that being okay, you have to make it okay. No one's going to give you anything. You can't talk about it or want it. You have to be about it and go get it. Okay. So this isn't a feel good platform. This is a scientific platform. Scientific over feel good. Okay. The difference between a scientific platform and a feel good platform is a feel good platform will keep you smiling and happy, but a scientific platform will drive you. It will have you pressing. Scientific. In the scientific platform, we follow the scientific principles of training. There are 3 steps to the scientific principle of training. The first one is overload. We're going to push you to do more. If we're going to push you to the upper echelon of society, that means you're going to have to compete to get there. In order for you to get there, you're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to do more, more, and more, and more. And now, of the first principle in the scientific principle of training is overload. You can overload in 3 different ways. Either you're going to increase in your frequency, your intensity, or your time and duration. Your frequency, you're going to do it more often. Your intensity, you're going to do it harder. Your time and duration, you're going to do it longer. Those are the ways that you overload. And that's not feel good. That's push it. That's we're applying more stress to your person. Positive stress, though, eustress, EUS stress, EUSTRESS, stress, eustress. That's positive stress. This positive stress is going to develop your body and create more stamina in your performance holistically. So that's the frequency piece. The intensity, you're gonna have to go harder. Okay, you're gonna have to go harder. And then time and duration, you're gonna have to go longer. If you exercise 30 minutes, okay, now you're gonna have to go 35 minutes or 31 minutes. You just want to break records every time in one of those 3 areas of training, so that you can make sure that you're ascending and going higher. You will not get to the top of the class if you do not work at it. Okay, we're a scientific platform, not the feel good platform. Next, specificity. The second principle in the scientific principles is specificity. Okay, that means you need to be specific on the things that you want to improve on. If your attitude is not a good attitude, improve your attitude. If your timeliness, which is my major problem, is a major problem for you, then improve your timeliness. If your performance, if your stamina, if your body composition, if you're out of shape, you can't last as long as the job requires, well, exercise and improve in that area. If you're not a friendly person, begin to show yourself friendly. Okay? Now, the third principle, progression. Just like overload, where you did it more, specificity, you focus on a certain thing, focus on a certain area, and now progression. You're doing more and more and more. You're taking it higher and higher and higher, but you don't want to injure or shock yourself. Safe progression. The third principle is progression safely so that you can last. Okay, Rome was not built in a day, so you don't have to change completely overnight. Anyone who is interested in you or who cares about you should appreciate your advancement. Any progression is good progression. Okay, everyone has their own personal way of doing things, they have their own person, so they get their own personal prescription. You don't have to worry about what the naysayers are saying. It's about you, but you have to set the terms because it is a societal competition. So you do have to observe the elements and then put yourself in position to ascend to the top. That's what we're doing. Our royal culture that we're talking about establishing. I'm the King Jeff. I'm King Jeff. This is the King Jeff podcast. I already operate like a king, but it's not about Jeff. It's about Jeff as it pertains to Jeff. You need to be the king of your life, the queen of your life. Your son needs to be the prince of his life. Your daughter needs to be the princess of her life. And except these scientific principles are focused upon, it's not likely to happen, especially if other people have established their way of becoming king in their lives or queen in their lives. Everything is competition, whether you're at the job, in business, at school, in athletics, relationships. It's competition, baby. If you want the pretty girls, you have to compete. You have to compete, guys. You have to make yourself worthy because relationships are chosen. It's not the caveman days where you can just walk in, clunk the head and say, Jane, you my girl. Like, no, it don't work like that. At least it's not supposed to. Anyway, lastly, regarding the feel-good platform compared to the scientific platform. The feel-good platform in which most people want, it does not work in this capitalistic society. If you want to change your circumstance from being a low-performing person and you want to ascend to the top, you're going to have to work your butt off. Now, I have an example for those two platforms. The feel-good platform is like masturbation. The scientific platform is like intercourse. Masturbation would not get you a baby. Intercourse likely can. Period. We're not feel good. We're not masturbating. We're not getting you off on simple things. No cheap thrills here. We're doing the intercourse thing. We're going all the way, bringing it through, and we're going to produce in the end. And that's the way that goes. Feel good ain't birthing no babies. Point blank. Scientific. Yeah, that's how you get it done. Okay. Now, let me reiterate. The purpose for this podcast is to partner with like-minded people. This is a call-in podcast. This is a call-in show too, where we're giving like-minded people all around the world to call in, collaborate, set our terms for what our royal culture is in our communities around this country. Get involved, guys. That's why I need you to subscribe to this channel, like and share this video, ring that bell, click that notification bell so you can know when we're on, and purchase a copy of The Matrix Project. This is the way. Go to the Amazon bookstore. It's called The Matrix Project, Way to Power. The Matrix Project, Way to Power. We put a lot of energy in producing it. It's excellent. So while today, episode 1 is only the introduction to the King Jeff podcast, next week we're going to talk about our 7 pillars that's in the Matrix Project. We believe that these 7 pillars are the things that all thriving communities have. All of the characteristics that Fortune 500 companies, successful communities, they all observe these 7 elements. And we're going to establish that. Because remember, we said that culture is visual artifacts, unwritten beliefs, and written documents. Well, we're providing our community a written document. So rather athlete, it doesn't matter, professional, relational, it applies to every walk of life. Okay? I will have to say again, I come in the spirit of love. I have no problems with anyone unless you have a major problem with me. And if you're a cancer in society, that means we have a problem. But I come in the spirit of love. I'm not judging. I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to partner with people so that we all can ascend to our royal place. I have love for everyone, and I want what's best for everyone. But I don't take from nobody. So now, the deal is this. I come in the spirit of love because of my faith and because of my human decency. I come in the spirit of love because of my faith and because of my human decency. Now, I will hurt anybody that needs to get these hands. Period. So I'm not that guy who you can abuse. And that's another thing in this platform. We don't advise you to allow people to assault you or to harm or abuse you. We don't do that. One of our key chapters is community protection, whether it's inside or outside. So talking about me, I come in the spirit of love. I understand that different people see things in different ways. I understand that I'm not for everyone. I really don't understand why. I really tick people off quite often, and it's not intentional. I want to see everybody do good. I don't always say things the right way. I get that. Who does? But the main thing is my heart is right and my intention is right. I listen as well as I talk. I don't just spout off my stuff. This whole platform is a collaborative work. That's why when you call in, I'm going to listen. You're going to be able to tell me what is on your mind. Is it relationship? Is it business? Is it network? Is it community? Those are our 4 areas. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next podcast. But tonight is just the introduction to the King Jeff platform, the King Jeff podcast, and us just telling you what it is that we're going to be doing. Okay. Now, as I was saying about myself, I'm not for everyone, but I try to be. I don't want to offend anyone. Sometimes I cry like a baby. Sometimes I'm as tender as a loving mother or father. And sometimes I'm as sharp as a drill sergeant. It depends on what the need is, but I'm not always right. But understand this: we're supposed to be working together. There's no selfishness here. I only want what's best for the team. My ideas are not always 100% correct. They're made better when you share your ideas, enlighten me on things. And it's not just about me. As you call into this platform, you're speaking to hopefully thousands, millions around the world. Make sure you like and share this video. Subscribe to this channel. Tell other people about this channel so that they can come on and we all can work together to network to set the tone for what's culturally acceptable in our community. Should pants be worn under your butt, mid butt, just under your crack, or on your waist? These are the type things we're talking about. Should you kill your neighbor? Should you sell drugs in your neighborhood? Should you pimp? Should you harm women? Domestic violence? Like, these are the terms that we're talking about setting. So far, anything goes. And that's a problem. But that's what this platform is for. This is the King Jeff podcast and call-in show. We're going to set the terms. We're also going to be brave and tough as hell. That we're not afraid of the elements. It's either you do or you die. Bottom line is, our community is dying now. We're going to have to do something about it. For some reason, men do not like when I challenge us to say, hey, let's get involved. So many people have seen our men not be involved or just be involved in busy work. If it's not overturning the negative effects, like the major things in the community, then what are you doing? And I mean this. If you have a major problem with juvenile delinquency and you unravel it and you find out that most of your juvenile delinquents live in a single family household where the parent is either not available due to work or just neglect or whatever situation, it doesn't matter. Instead of just talking to this kid about academics and your grades, well, in trying to have them behave at school alone, this kid has foundational problems. He has a parent who's not there. So our involvement, if you're going to contribute something to that child, let's go to the furthest most level so that we can lift this kid up. He's hungry. You giving him lunch, that didn't fix the problem. It only took care of that moment, but it didn't solve the problem because he's going to be hungry tomorrow and the day after that. Let's get in and really care. If that was our own kid or our own family, would we just give that child a lunch and then just be like, oh, well? No, you care more about that kid. Okay, so let's collaborate. Let's do it. Let's get it together. We can do this. I'm so positive. I'm so excited. I'm not good at podcasts and talking like this, but I'm willing to do it anyway because my community has need. I've been called to this place and I've accepted the call. As simple as that. Okay. So now, like I said, everybody's not for me. You should be. I want you to be, but I understand that everybody's not going to be for me. Like, some people are going to call in and I'm going to be like, really? You said that? And that's fine. Family can work these things out. Quorum will decide where we go. Not one person, one voice. The quorum will. If 5 of you say, hey, this is what we're doing, and 3 of us say, no, this is best. Well, guess what? The 5 wins out, and that's the direction in which we go. This Matrix project, this isn't the finished work. This is just one part of it. This team, you calling in, us working together, that's going to establish even better work that we can present to the community. That's providing that written document that sets the tone for culture. Culture is the way you live, and it's passed on from generation to generation. Well, as we establish written documents, that's what sets culture. If we do not plan and put these things together, we can do what? We can plan to fail. And that's what's going to happen. But we're not going to let that happen. You're going to call in. You're going to subscribe to this channel. You're going to like and share this video. And you're going to click on that notification bell so that you know when we're on. Okay? And you're going to purchase a copy of the Matrix Project from the Amazon bookstore. We need you to do that now. Okay? As I was saying, many people prefer comfort over success because success says you have to work for it.